Hey guys, this is Type Force Reacts, and I am back to do something I don't normally do. This is not something normally you know me for reaction videos and basically mostly to anime, but occasionally some other things. And last year it was mostly Death Battle that got me the most views, which of course it did. Death Battle Season 10 was one of the greatest things of all time. But yeah, this is not something I normally do, and my channel has kind of been dry ever since Death Battle Season 10 ended and Rooster Teeth was shut down, thank God, and Death Battle was somewhat killed. Oh no, that's not a thank God. I as look, my feelings on Rooster Teeth shutdown are very mixed. On the one hand, I am very sorry that a lot of employees got laid off, and it was a very sad, trying time. But on the other hand, Rooster Teeth as a company was just so corrupt, and they weren't churning out any quality products anymore. So except for Death Battle, who was barely even their IP to begin with. So yeah, yeah. So on the one hand, I am very sad for the little guys that got screwed because of that. But on the other hand, all those higher ups that were very corrupt and just, doing not so good things, yeah. But anyway, before I go any further, I should probably say this: I am not sponsored in any kind of way. Death Battle has not contacted me like they apparently have done for a few other YouTubers. I'm doing this completely for free, out of the goodness of my heart, because I love Death Battle. I love this show so goddamn much. I bought a shirt. Yes, even though Guts versus Dimitri, I do love that episode. I don't even think it's in my top 5 of season 10 personally. No offense to the Guts versus Dimitri fans out there. It just didn't speak to me nearly as much as it did a whole lot of other people. But yeah, I cannot deny that the track art looks amazing. but yeah, I am doing this free advertising out of the goodness of my heart. And so, yeah, and just to let you guys know what very few people are probably going to watch this video, what this show means to me and why I think you guys should go support them. And yeah, and as of right now, I am looking at the Kickstarter homepage right now, and it just hit 380K, which is amazing. I've also been watching the live stream, which I think it's still going right now too, but I have to catch up. I was at work today. But I've already pledged my $50. Like, I didn't feel like, here's the thing, I was originally going to pledge $20, but then I saw that $50 was just labeled Bankai, and I just went, okay, I gotta go with the one that's my favorite power-up in all of anime. Of course I gotta go Bankai, and it's barely even, more, so whatever. Yeah, but yeah, this show, it means so much to me. I got into the show near the very beginning. Not at the very beginning, but season 1 was still ongoing at that time. Though granted, it wasn't really called season 1, but either way. The first episode I saw was because I was looking up epic rap battles of history. Yes, that epic rap battles of history. Because that was like super popular at the time, but I didn't want to watch, two people rap at each other. I kind of wanted to watch them fight. I wanted to see what that was like, and so that eventually made me come across Goomba versus Koopa. Yes, my very first episode was Goomba versus Koopa, and I know I've pretty much gone over my history with the show in my Goku versus Superman 3 reaction, but I feel like I need to go over it here too. But yeah, once I saw Goomba vs. Koopa, saw that whole thing, I loved it to pieces, and then I realized they made how many more episodes? So I just kept going. I think I started at the beginning, with Boba Fett versus Samus, and I was like, I was just so engrossed. Mario versus Sonic, Shadow versus Vegeta. Vegeta versus Shadow was my very first introduction to Dragon Ball Z. I think I might have seen like a clip or two of it here and there, but I had no idea what it was. But Vegeta versus Shadow was my first experience with that, and then I, kept going. Master Chief versus Doom Guy, that was fun. At the time I got into Death Battle, if I recall correctly, Eggman versus Wily was being hyped up. I know, like, there was a whole bunch of trailers that released on YouTube for like each individual Robot Master and Badnik. So yeah, that was a whole lot of fun. Yeah, I probably forgot to say, this video is unscripted, if you couldn't tell already, so I'm basically going through. And then, it was around when Eggman vs. Wily released, is when I heard about Goku versus Superman, and Goku being the protagonist of Dragon Ball Z, the same anime with Vegeta in it. So I was just like, okay, whatever, I don't see how he's beating Superman, because I knew who Superman was. Who wouldn't know who Superman was at that point? But I was like, Superman's invincible, isn't he? Like, I had that kind of mindset. And then once Pikachu versus Blanca came out, and then the preview being Goku versus Superman, and oh man, it promised to come out on December 21st, 2012. Oh my, that's the end of the world day. That's fun. And then that day came around. I remember specifically coming home from school that day and just constantly refreshing like the Screw Attack page, because this was Screw Attacks at the time. But nothing ever came up. And then, like, way later on down the line, finally it came in like January of that next year. And oh my, it was one of the most magical experiences I'd ever had in my life, just watching that original Goku versus Superman. Oh man, it was a nice time. And yeah, that was the end of season 1, and then they got into season 2, and for the longest time, we didn't know if season 2 was ever gonna end. It's 32 episodes long. It's still the longest season in the show. But it kept releasing banger after banger. But it also kept releasing flop after flop. For every Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, we got Beast versus Goliath. But yeah, either way, like, yeah, season 2 gave us some of the best episodes of the show. Like I said, Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, Wolverine versus Raiden, Snake versus Sam, just a whole bunch of other ones. It was amazing, guys, and it was a magical experience going through that. Kirby versus Majin Buu was one of my favorites for the longest time, because that was my first introduction to Kirby being just this monster. So yeah. Then season 3 came along, was announced, and that was when I started. Technically, I started doing reactions to Death Battle while season 2 was going on, but I only reacted to one episode, and it was split into 4 parts because I had no idea how to operate YouTube back then. I was barely a teenager. I hadn't even left high school yet. And that what episode was it? Darth Vader versus Doctor Doom, aka one of the lower points of the season. That was the episode I chose to watch, I guess. But yeah, and that was also the episode that announced Goku versus Superman 2, so that wasn't exactly restoring my good mood. I didn't see the point in a 2, but hey, I still saw it, and it was alright. Nowadays, I kind of look at it, it's like, yeah, it's alright. The conclusion is somehow even worse than the first one. But yeah, as the fight itself was really good, though. But yeah, then I started actually doing reactions to Death Battle once Season 3 came out, and it was also kind of split into multiple parts sometimes, but eventually I got the hang of it. But it was really just me pointing my iPhone at my iPod, just giving commentary. You don't see my face, you don't. And then it was even longer, and it was like, I think it wasn't until like Season 4, maybe 5, whichever was the one with Batman and Black Panther, whichever one that was. I can't remember if that was 4 or 5. I think it was 5. Where I finally started to show my face on screen and a video in the corner. It was just a fun time, and then, after a while I was just kind of going with emotions with Death Battle, and it was just one of those shows that was always a constant in life. And oh man, it was great. It was so great. And then season like 8 came out. I was like, oh, this is the best season of the show, and it was great. They had a few low points, but whatever. Then season 9 came out, and I was like, oh wait, no, this is the best season of the show. And with the only low point really being Deku versus Asta, and that was really only a thing where you really only understood it like if you knew what Black Clover was, and not a lot of Death Battle fans are also fans of Black Clover. So it was, yeah, that's pretty sad. But hopefully, some people got converted to Black Clover because of that episode, though I highly doubt it. Then season 10 came out. Oh my, season 10 is still the best season of the show. Banger after banger, and really to me there are only 2 low points, and even then those are like 7 out of 10s at worst, and that's Kilo versus Misaka, simply because I didn't really vibe with the episode in particular, and Stitch versus Rocket, and that's really only because I keep forgetting that episode came out in season 10. No offense to like people who really like that episode. Again, no offense to people who didn't like those episodes. It's just they just didn't vibe with me nearly as much. But yeah, now Death Battle is here, is coming back. It's coming back, guys. We're at 300. We're over 380K now. The Kickstarter was a massive success. They didn't expect it to get to 75K within the first 20 minutes of it being posted. It was, man, this whole situation is giving me so much serotonin, and I've just been going through. I just felt like I needed to make this kind of video. But now for the second part of the title of this video, after what Death Battle means to me. It's my most wanted matchup. It has, in fact, changed. Since I talked about it all those years ago about my most wanted matchups. My first most wanted matchup was Rouge the Bat versus Catwoman from Rouge the Bat from Sonic the Hedgehog versus Catwoman from DC Comics. And I think the reason I was so attached to that one was because I felt like I came up with it myself. It was not a very popular matchup. It was because Catwoman versus Black Cat is a thing, and, it's typical Marvel versus DC kind of thing. And I have no ill feelings towards that matchup, but I just really like the idea of Rouge versus Catwoman, and that just really struck with me, and it was like my most wanted for so many years, but up until recently. And what has replaced it? What was the other things on that list, like Gamagori versus Armstrong, and then there was also dang it, I can't remember some other ones. I guess Jason versus Michael is already an episode now. There's also Rukio versus Sakura, which I actually did make a fan-made episode of that, like scripted at least. And if you can find it, like I have a Wattpad, like if you want to try and find that. Then this episode though, the one I'm thinking of, did not exist at that time because I was not into Naruto at that time, really. So the one matchup that I want to see the most, and it's probably not going to happen, but if it does, I will be very excited because, yeah, my most wanted matchup is Orochimaru from Naruto versus Mayuri Kuretsuchi from Bleach, and oh my, it would be a fun episode. And is it fair? Not really. Simply because even if Orochimaru wasn't outstatted, he's outhaxed. Like, Orochimaru has like that substitution jutsu where he crawls out of his own mouth like a snake shedding its skin. He doesn't really have anything against what Mayuri can do, because oh my, just, you really only need look at his resume. He has a drug that makes your senses like superhuman. Basically, like, all of a sudden you experience time much slower, but you can't actually move any faster. You're just experiencing this one moment for thousands of years, it seems, in your perspective. And that's what he used against Szayelaporro. And you know the Izanami from Naruto, aka the most broken ability that was introduced at the last second by Itachi? Yeah, Mayuri made a drug that replicates that. And he could just do that. Like, there are a number of drugs I wish to test on you, that kind of thing. And just, he's just broken beyond belief, Mayuri is. he only needs like 5 minutes in order to figure out everything that you are and what you're about. And at the end of it, he will give you a speech worthy of the Oscars. Kubo was cooking with Kuratsuchi. Plus all the connections. They're mad scientists. They experimented on people, and they're morally dubious at the end of the day. Even though Orochimaru became like the village goofball at the end of Naruto, which is very weird because the dude murdered babies. And then there's Kuratsuchi, who was introduced as like almost pure evil because he's the guy who killed Ishida's grandpa. And but then like as the series went on, he became more morally dubious rather than morally evil because yeah, he's very useful to the Soul Society and like constructing all these things. Like he was the secret MVP of the Thousand Year Blood War because yeah, it was once you put him in the room with Urahara, yeah, the Quincy's were done for. So yeah, then like I said, but I think it's a very interesting fight to just watch simply because I want the end of the fight to be another one of those Oscar-worthy speeches from Kuratsuchi to Orochimaru, dissecting why Orochimaru wants immortality. Like, you want immortality because you fear death, and like, what is there to fear about death? And like, that kind of thing. And perhaps you will find it in the Soul Society, and I will find you there, and that kind of thing. And yeah, hey, Death Battle, if you need someone to voice Kuratsuchi, I've been told I do a really good Kuratsuchi voice, the dub voice. There are a number of drugs I wish to test on you. Don't worry, it's all for the sake of the Serete. That kind of thing. But yeah, that's my most wanted matchup, simply because Kuratsuchi is just a boss. Like, he may be morally dubious, but at the end of the day, he's such a cool character. His fights are always top tier. But yeah, alright. I've been prattling on this just for so long, but yeah, I will have a link to the Kickstarter in the description below. If you really want to if you really want to contribute, we are at 383k with the Kickstarter, and oh man, I love Death Battle. Ben, Chad, Liam, anybody, if you somehow manage to come across this, just know you guys mean so much to me, and just may your days be as victorious as today has been at the time of recording. Because oh my, this is such an amazing thing. So yeah, I don't have anything else I can say, so I'll just end the video here. So yeah, until next time, guys, see ya.